The true story behind Good American Family and Natalia Grace Barnett explained. Hulu's Good American Family is based on a real-life story, and the true crime show is only part of the complicated reality. Good American Family has presented itself as a fairly intense and unusual true crime show, and many viewers may wonder if it's actually based on a real story. Good American Family follows a family that adopts a child, only to believe that child was actually an adult who was trying to scam them. It seems like a product of fiction, but Hulu's new drama is based on a true story, and the reality is just as harrowing as the fiction. Good American Family is based on the story of Natalia Grace and her adoption by the Barnett family, but it's not the first time this story has been put to screen. The Orphan prequel movie Orphan: First Kill was seemingly inspired by Natalia Grace, and the docuseries The Curious Case of Natalia Grace also tried to unearth the truth of the contentious events and legal proceedings. It is, however, the first dramatization of those events, and it may deviate from the facts of the case somewhat. According to Good American Family's trailer, the show is inspired by multiple stories, perspectives, threats, interpretations, and accusations surrounding Christine and Michael Barnett's adoption of Natalia Grace. As such, most of the cast members of Good American Family play real-life people in the dramatization. Ellen Pompeo, for example, plays Christine Barnett, while Imogen Faith Reed plays Natalia Grace. The true story of Natalia Grace's time with the Barnett family, however, was obscured by controversy, conflicting accounts, and lies. Some versions of the story accuse Natalia Grace of posing as a child to con and kill her adoptive family, while others position the Barnetts as an abusive and neglectful family. Natalia Grace was born in Ukraine with spondylopiphyseal dysplasia congenita, a rare form of dwarfism, via the Independent. Natalia's Ukrainian birth certificate claimed she was born in 2003, meaning she would have been about 7 years old when the Barnetts adopted her in 2010. Natalia was put into a Ukrainian orphanage at some point in her early life, and she was eventually brought to the United States to be adopted. Natalia was adopted by a different family before the Barnetts, the Sitcoms, though that family from New England gave her away, according to The Curious Case of Natalia Grace. Shortly after the Barnetts adopted Natalia Grace, trouble began. According to some sources and the Barnetts, Natalia was suffering from some kind of mental illness. She has since been diagnosed with reactive attachment disorder, via people, and had violent tendencies. Various accounts allege that Natalia threatened her adoptive siblings and parents with knives, urinated and defecated inside and on her younger sibling, and tried to poison Christine, via the Independent. The Barnetts also claimed that a professional diagnosed Natalia as a sociopath, though Natalia has denied these claims. In fact, both Natalia and Michael Barnett have accused Christine of abusing her, via Business Insider. At the same time as the alleged instances of violence, the Barnetts began suspecting that Natalia Grace was actually older than her birth records claimed she was. Christine Barnett claimed that Natalia had pubic hair and had menstruated, both of which are secondary sexual characteristics girls usually first have around 12 years of age, via The Guardian. The Barnetts also alleged that Natalia looked older than another child with spondylopiphyseal dysplasia congenita, and that she had a vocabulary too advanced for a 7-year-old. The family believed Natalia was actually an adult or teenager, and that she was using her dwarfism to scam them. 2 years after the Barnetts adopted Natalia Grace, they succeeded in a court case to effectively change her age. Natalia's Ukrainian birth certificate originally stated that she was born in 2003, but the Barnetts successfully petitioned a judge to alter the birth records to say she was born in 1989, via USA Today. However, a local children's hospital conducted a skeletal survey and determined Natalia was about 11 years old at the time, via The Guardian. The change in Natalia's birth records allowed the Barnetts to treat her as an adult, and made it so Natalia wasn't legally their child anymore. After having Natalia Grace legally declared an adult, the Barnetts effectively left her. The Barnetts rented an apartment in Lafayette, Indiana, and got Natalia on federal benefits before moving with the rest of their family to Canada via the Independent. Natalia also said she was unable to bathe herself or operate a washing machine while living on her own, via Business Insider. However, because of Natalia Grace's genetic condition, Tippecanoe County prosecutors charged Christine and Michael Barnett with neglect of a dependent in 2019. Michael Barnett was acquitted of the charges in October 2022, while the charges against Christine were dismissed in March 2023, via Business Insider. Now, a decade and a half after the initial adoption, Christine and Michael Barnett and Natalia Grace have very different lives. Michael and Christine separated in 2013 and divorced in 2014, via Business Insider. Christine wrote a novel about raising her son Jacob, who has autism, in 2013, though she has not written any more parenting books since. Michael has publicly alleged that Christine was abusive and entirely at fault for the controversy surrounding Natalia Grace's age. Via The Curious Case of Natalia Grace, Michael has since remarried. After leaving the Barnett family, Natalia had more adoption troubles. Natalia was adopted by the man's family, though they were allegedly abusive towards her for 10 years, via People. The situation was reportedly so dire that Natalia had to stage an escape, and she now lives with the DePaul family. She's also studying for her general educational development tests, hoping to become a teacher and planning surgeries related to her dwarfism. She also has a boyfriend, Neil, and has come a long way since the events that Good American Family depicts. In the quiet heartland of Indiana, where cornfields stretch like golden oceans under endless skies, a suburban family once dreamed of embodying the American ideal: a white picket fence, smiling children, and a life laced with God, gratitude, and hard work. But when Christine and Michael Barnett adopted a 6-year-old girl from Ukraine named Natalia Grace in 2010, their picturesque life took a strange and disturbing turn. A story that was supposed to be about hope and healing quickly devolved into a media circus of suspicion, betrayal, and a chilling question that echoes like a riddle. Who was Natalia Grace, really? This isn't just the tale of a family gone wrong. It's a modern American fable, one where the definition of family, truth, and trust are tested to the breaking point. The Good American Family. The Barnetts weren't just any family. They were the epitome of Midwestern success. Christine was a motivational speaker and writer, known for her nurturing spirit and unconventional homeschooling techniques that had helped her biological son, Jacob, who was diagnosed with autism, blossom into a teenage physics prodigy. Michael, her husband, was an IT professional with a calm demeanor and a proud fatherly air. Together, they were hailed in parenting circles as a shining example of unconditional love. So when the Barnetts announced they were adopting a special needs child from abroad, it seemed like a natural next step in their journey as a compassionate, exceptional family. Natalia was described as a 6-year-old girl with a rare form of dwarfism called spondylopiphyseal dysplasia congenita. She was small, around 3 feet tall, and spoke with an accent, her dark eyes wide and searching. But the family's initial joy was short-lived. The cracks begin to show. Not long after Natalia was brought into their home, Christine claims she began to notice strange behavior. Natalia allegedly used adult vocabulary, had developed pubic hair, and showed no signs of a physical delay when it came to menstruation or cognitive functioning. Then came the disturbing accusations. Christine said Natalia tried to harm the other children, stood over them at night with a sinister grin, and once poured bleach into Christine's coffee. The narrative began to sound less like a parenting challenge and more like the plot of a psychological thriller. It didn't take long for the story to explode in the media, with tabloids dubbing Natalia the real-life Esther, a reference to the horror film Orphan, where a 33-year-old woman pretends to be a child to infiltrate a family. Suddenly, the Barnetts weren't just good parents. They were victims of an alleged con. The age controversy. In 2012, just 2 years after adopting Natalia, the Barnetts petitioned the Indiana court system to legally change Natalia's birth year from 2003 to 1989, making her 22 years old instead of 9. Shockingly, the judge approved it. This legal change was the fulcrum upon which their entire defense later rested.